Standards that work on invisible handwork.
You can actually visit pylog.com or the Pylog's LinkedIn page to watch this recording. I think there is a question here about, is it a standard for handover from project to maintenance? But before you answer the question, I think this is a broader question. As you can see, the data itself took a lot of time. We could actually have a webinar exclusively on that particular topic. But as organizations scale, how do they think about the challenge of having data aligning to functions, right? Maintenance, supply chain, operations. They may be working effectively in their own system, but they're not always working with the underlying definitions or structures. So there are a lot of disconnects. It's not always visible upfront, but it only surfaces when you need to make decisions very quickly. So with that, maybe you can also answer Mohammad Azim's question, and LinkedIn user, thank you so much about your question too. So we'll start with you, Shreyas. Where do these cross-functional disconnects tend to surface first? And what are the moments where things to start breaking down?
Yeah, when data issues span different functions in an organization, we still continue calling them IT problems. But the moment it started to reach or touch other departments, it's no longer an IT problem. You should call it what it is. We call it a coordination tax. Every consultant will refer to it that way, that the organization is paying, right? Yes, this is a problem in the data layer. This is a data-related problem that is spanning different functions, but this is a coordination tax that the entire organization has to pay, and you typically end up paying the most tax at the most critical parts of the enterprise. And some of those are, for example, where the MRO and procurement teams coordinate, which is the most common failure point. Like the maintenance system is basically referring to the same things very, very differently, doesn't speak the same language that the procurement system or the inventory system or the ERP system does. So all of your part requests, they get lost in translation, especially if they happen to be non-expensive parts that you need to carry multiples of. This is where the problem really exacerbates, right? Then the second aspect where there is a disconnect is between planning and execution, because your planning teams, whatever kind of planning they're doing, whatever tool they're using, if they're doing it on spreadsheets or doing it on a whiteboard, it doesn't matter. But planners work with ideal master data. Shop floor doesn't work with ideal master data.
Yep.
So when I talk about ideal, I mean it needs to have some reflection of what the current state of the asset is. Like, has recent maintenance been done? What kind of part replacements have been done? What kind of modifications have been done? Because the kind of manuals and static documents and SOPs or what have you that the planning team works with, they have no idea what's been modified. They have no idea where the alignment is. They have no idea what the ground reality is. So that's where planning is divorced from what's happening at the execution layer. And then what happens, teams will completely abandon the system, and then they'll start relying on tribal knowledge that this is how we deal with it because this is how we've always dealt with it. And then because of issues like this, and because of the lack of investment, the lack of time and effort, there is no learning loop, there is no feedback loop. Let's say for one part, for one instance, for one site, for one asset, you make this change, right? But have you rolled out a similar fix to every single asset that you're operating currently? Do you have an idea of as installed, the differences between assets as they were installed, as they are maintained, as they are being operated today? All of this data should be available somewhere. It should flow between these teams. But then it comes back to broken, inconsistent hierarchies. Then it comes back to all of the disconnects between these teams. Then it comes back to, hey, I don't really understand because I'm looking at the code, whereas the maintenance folks are looking at the actual physical thing. They're talking about the same thing, but in two
Yeah.
different ways. This continues, the loop of problems. So these gaps, they will cause tremendous friction across the organization, and little by little, when you start stacking them up, you're looking at this new line item that from an efficiency standpoint, our organization is paying this coordination tax, and there seems to be, in most organizations, no plan to address this at all.
Yeah.
True. Thank you, Mandeep, for weighing in. We also have a question from Bashir. How can asset data management improve efficiency in small scale or emerging agricultural projects? As we are running out of time, Dr. Syed, do you want to take a quick shot at that? And also, one of the things that we haven't talked about, and maybe you can touch a little bit on, is why this is so important to invest because of AI, and being one of the things is that by investing in all of the initiatives that you both have talked about, you can actually save money through preventive maintenance. So go ahead, Dr. Syed.
Okay, thank you. For me, whether it is a small scale or a large scale or mid scale, the problems are just also scaling up and down. So whether it is a small scale engineering agriculture project or whether it is a mid scale maybe utilities project, the problems are proportional irrespective of whatever it is. Yes, if you have only handful of assets, probably in couple of hundreds, maybe you can manage it without a system, without investing into it. But the moment it runs out of thousands, then definitely you need to invest into the foundation of it. And to answer the other question, which is the predictive, prescriptive, very nice words, Shashi, but I say that very, very dangerous words, because I don't think that anybody can claim that we have the predictive maintenance, prescriptive maintenance, unless they have the right foundation, right taxonomy, right artifacts, and right maintenance history of it. You cannot, and because you learn it from the previous patterns, then only you can predict it. You cannot predict it if you do not have the historian data, if you do not have the maintenance history of it. So I personally, try to keep myself away from these terms, because a lot of organizations are still taking baby steps to have their maintenance strategies built. Leave about optimization, enrichment, and I'm also hearing this saying that self-serve or autonomous or everything is AI driven. We are too far from that in the reality, because when we go to the ground reality and check it, we are too far from that. We don't know what we are talking about, but those are nice words to have, probably very catchy words to also talk about, but I hesitate to talk about that and promote it. The reason for that is the foundation itself is crumbling. The foundation itself has got a lot of cracks in it, a lot of gaps in it, and you will not realize until you start building something. And I challenge people that build something on it. And I would like to give one example. And one of the large organizations who claim that they are AI driven, data driven, we wanted to just do one use case with them. They could not provide the data out of their various systems that they claim. So we had to build the artifacts, we had to build that and put the foundation, and then we could do it. So leave about then the small or the mid organizations of it. And this is the reality, and nobody would accept it. They would like to challenge it, but once they understand what we are talking about, it's difficult. That's why what Shreyas mentioned is that fit for purpose, because for procurement, fit for purpose is a different data set than for maintenance, to the finance, to the shop floor, to the buyers. It's completely different. It's exactly the same comprehensive data set, but how they see it, how they interpret it, how they transform it, how they articulate is completely different. So that is where I would like to leave. So let's focus on fit for purpose kind of data sets for each of them, and if we can achieve that, that would be a huge achievement. I personally believe that that would be a huge achievement. If we can bring in context of each and every department into it, that would be great.